Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at pitching on tonight's 11-game slate. Overall, I mean, it's not the strongest, but you do obviously have Jose Fernandez, you have Rick Porcello, and then kind of a couple guys that fall into that middle tier.
Yep, they fall down the drain into the middle tier there, but we're certainly excited about a few of them options there.
Yeah, definitely are. And Yankees Orioles first one here. CC Sabathia taking in Kevin Gossman. Oddly, both of these guys have had good success against the opposing teams. I mean, Gossman, it has a lot to do with him just being really effective against lefties. And given the fact that really outside of Sanchez, there isn't a righty that really scares you. So, I mean, for me, Gossman at that price still at home where he's pitched better. He's another guy who I just think on tonight's slate, I like him in all formats.
I agree, especially with the lefty factor. I mean, obviously, Gary Sanchez is sort of lurking in the middle, but beyond that, it's all lefties, and we know Gossman's a reverse splits guy. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with that. We saw that one game sample, but this has been pretty consistent all year for him with lefties. So, yeah, I like him in all formats too at that price.
Yeah, I mean, 4 starts against the Yankees this year, 24 strikeouts. I mean, 3 earned runs allowed, so he's dominated. And I mean, at home, I mean, under a 2.5 ERA compared to over a 4.5 ERA on the road. So, I mean, it's hard. It's obviously hard to keep going Gossman and keep rolling him out because we know the consistency always isn't there. But I feel like tonight is a slate where I can rely on him.
Absolutely.
So, as far as CC goes on the other side, I'm never the biggest fan of CC, but I mean, I guess with what he's done against Baltimore and having a couple of decent high upside games of late, especially in the strikeout department, I mean, 7+ strikeouts in the last 4 starts. I'm okay with him in a GPP fashion at his price.
Yeah, a little vintage CC of late, huh? With those strikeouts of late, but yeah, the price is okay, especially on DK, but overall. No, I mean, you can do it. Certainly a tournament option, especially at those prices. But I'm not the biggest fan with Machado and Trumbo and Adam Jones sitting at the front there. I know there is upside with strikeouts, but overall, not too enthused.
No, I'm definitely not. I mean, he's not my first GPP option I'll be rolling with, but he might be a guy if you build multiple lines, you're trying to get really weird. I wouldn't rule him out.
Right.
Braves and Phillies next year, Vince Velasquez versus John Gant. As far as Velasquez goes, I'm not the biggest fan of him tonight. I mean, with all those lefties and him really struggling with lefties, especially of late, I'm kind of off of him. And the Braves really haven't been striking out a ton against right-handers. So for me, I mean, I want to like Velasquez, but I don't think I can quite go behind him.
Oh, wow. We've got a breakthrough, everyone. He's not doing it. Oh man, I'm so happy to hear this, Jason. Yeah, no, I can't do it. Velasquez, good arm. Actually has shown some signs last few starts, but I just don't trust, non-ace arms against this Braves team right now with right-handed pitching, So I'm just gonna stay away from that matchup.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not going to knock it in a GPP sense, but yeah, for the most part, I probably won't be having a ton of shares. I mean, I kind of view it's oddly enough, I view it close to CC where I don't feel the most comfortable about deploying him.
Right.
As far as Gant goes on the other side, I'm not looking to use him. I know it's the Phillies, but I don't see him being a serviceable arm.
Yeah, now maybe if he had a few more starts this year, maybe I'd trust him, but I kind of like the Phillies to maybe chip away here at some point.
Yeah, I do too. Pirates and Brewers next year, Jimmy Nelson versus Ivan Nova. Pittsburgh -183 favorites. In that ballpark. Ivan Nova's been, I mean, since coming over to Pittsburgh, I mean,
what the heck?
ERA below 3. I mean, 3.18 FIP in a couple starts there. I mean, we always see this with the Pirates when we see pitchers go there. I mean, Jay Happ went there and turned around his career. AJ Burnett came in and had a couple solid seasons. There's something about LA and Pittsburgh that they fix pitchers, and I think that's happening to Nova.
My God. I mean, I couldn't even have dreamed of Nova pitching like this with the Yankees. I don't know what happened. Obviously, the NL, you get the extra, the pitcher at the end there, so it's a little easier. But overall, very impressive. So, certainly like this matchup. Obviously, love the strikeout upside of the Brewers. It's kind of like the Brewers and Padres are like battling. No, I strike out more. No, I strike out more. And then they're just going back and forth. So, certainly like Nova here from a tournament sense. Are we saying Ivan Nova in cash? I mean, I don't know if I want to do that, but I might be doing that.
On DraftKings, I think it's certainly worthy of a look. I mean, his only real down start came against San Francisco on the road, and was pulled rather quickly. His price on FanDuel, I think he's a worthy GPP shot. But yeah, I think cash. I mean, on DraftKings as an SP2 or even an SP1 in GPPs, I think you can kind of go that way if you want to.
Definitely agree.
So, and as you mentioned, I mean, that Brewers strikeout rate is high against right-handed pitching. I mean, 26% strikeout rate, they 23rd in WOBA. So, I'm okay with really flying away there.
Yeah.
On the other side, Jimmy Nelson. Nelson's a guy who I don't really trust, even in this ballpark, even against this Pirates offense. He's cheap, but I'm just kind of fading there.
No need. We don't need to do it with Jimmy Nelson. It's all set.
So. Nationals and Mets next here. Robert Selman versus Tanner Roark. Selman's definitely not a guy I'm looking to use, even as a cheap guy. But Tanner Roark, he's a guy. I mean, I know you and I are not the biggest Roark fans. Just overall, we just like to kind of use him in good matchups. I don't know.
Ooh, okay. All right. I mean, well, you got a feeling here. What do you got?
I mean, he's borderline cash for me on DraftKings. FanDuel, I probably won't be using it at 8,700, but I don't know. I don't mind him in this matchup here. I think it's a reasonable price from we've actually seen a much higher.
The spread of lefties in this Mets lineup kind of gives me a little caution, with non-ace righties here. But I mean, I don't mind it from a tournament sense. I don't think I can go borderline cash, but certainly not a bad option against what's been, I mean, overall pretty mediocre Mets offense. So, I'm okay with it. But like you mentioned, maybe we're a little biased against him at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, his peripheral numbers are something I'm just not in love with. I think that's when I go, oh, you look at the ERA, you'd be like, all right, fire him up every start. But then you kind of look and go, oh, it's not the most impressive arm I've seen.
And that strikeout rate is like, well, this is kind of actually really annoyingly bad. So.
Yeah, I mean, you look at still 0/4, and as you mentioned, the strikeout rate, he doesn't miss a ton of bats. I mean, 8.6% swing strike percentage. Below 20% strikeout rate. It's not a sexy arm in terms of a lot of upside, but I think just because the Mets are such a hit and miss offense, it makes him a little bit playable.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and as we mentioned, Selman's not a guy we're looking to use. White Sox and Twins, Hector Santiago versus James Shields. Speaking of two guys we're not looking to use, both these guys, there's no need for me to dive into why I would or wouldn't use them.
Twins aren't good against righties, I don't think. But okay. No James Shields. Hector Santiago, no thanks. I like what Jose Abreu's been doing of late, and I obviously like Todd Frazier, so no thanks with Hector Santiago either.
No, I mean, not the way with him giving up home runs of late.
Yeah.
Marlins and Indians next here. You got Jose Fernandez taking on Trevor Bauer, and here's kind of the ultimate test for Fernandez. I mean, on the road, hasn't exactly been the cleanest of pitchers on the road. But I mean, still, we know that strikeout upside is high. We know that potential for a ceiling is certainly there. But tough matchup against Cleveland, who do rank in the top 10 in WOBA against righties. Their ISO is strong, but there still certainly is some upside here in terms of strikeouts.
This is not an easy matchup for Jose, especially with righties. Cleveland loves right-handed pitching, so I don't know. Obviously, it's Jose Fernandez. Obviously, he has a ton of upside. Obviously, we've seen the Indians get shut down. They're pretty inconsistent, and then they go off. But this isn't like a normal Jose Fernandez. All right, locking him in, 100% exposure and cash. Like, it's not that type of matchup for him. So I still do like him. I'm okay with the prices, but I do have a little bit of caution here. Not going to go 100% in tournaments, that's for sure.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm looking at this game and I'm just like, oh man, I feel like it's going to be a tough matchup for him. I could see a decent start certainly, and I can see kind of a wide range of options in terms of him either getting a poor outing and kind of heading to the showers quickly. I could see him kind of having a start like he did against the Giants, where he was very solid, but in terms of what his price was, it wasn't great. Or I could see the typical high upside game that leaves everyone else in the dust. So
yeah. I mean, I'm just saying for any righty, like those top three of Santana, Kipnis, Lindor, like that's a pain to get through. So, most likely he's gonna get his 8 or 9 strikeouts and he'll be fine. But I just worry a little bit here.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, he's a guy. I mean, I might just kind of lean elsewhere in cash games.
Yeah.
I mean, I got Purcello. I mean, I wish I knew Rich Hill was healthy because then it would make him an easier kind of plug and play. But that's still even a risky situation with what he's been dealing with as far as injuries go.
Certainly, and at his prices, especially on DK. But yeah, we'll get into that. But I mean, this kind of opens up Trevor Bauer as like a little bit of a contrarian play. We love targeting that Marlins offense for sure, especially with righties. So I certainly think he's in cash play at 8,100. I like that play a lot.
Yeah, and Power's a guy. I mean, I kind of, throw him as like you flip the coin and heads is either he has a great start or tails he gets completely shelled. And
right.
when you flip the coin in, like you get 5 times in a row, you land on tails.
Yeah.
And like you can't, that's Bauer. I mean, Bauer just goes through such awful stretches here and there.
Right.
But
I know.
I certainly like him as a GPP option. I mean, the price isn't bad if you want to take that risk, but he is one of those guys where it's just completely one way or the other. It never seems to be a tremendous middle ground.
It's true. He hadn't had over, 4 strikeouts in about 5 starts. Then he had that 13K just obliteration of the Blue Jays, and now he's back to normal again. But I don't know. It kind of seems like the Marlins are like literally flailing in the water, like they're dead, and they're just like, someone please like just scoop me and cook me on the grill,
Yeah, I mean that's really what it feels like at this point. I mean their power numbers are down quite a bit. They didn't have significant power numbers anyway, but they just look bad.
Yeah.
So, Tigers and Royals next here. Yordano Ventura versus Michael Fulmer. Not the biggest fan of Fulmer tonight at the price. For me, it feels like he's been a guy who's just been kind of very average over the last, I don't know, most of the second half. I mean, he had a great start against Texas, but outside of that, it's just been a lot of kind of average production.
Yeah, definitely a lot of average production. I mean, certainly we like that Rangers start. We like that, the start against the Rays where he had 10 strikeouts, but overall, I mean, we talk about this Royals lineup a lot, especially against righties. It's just a little feisty, They don't give up a ton of strikeouts. That upside's limited. So yeah, at this price, kind of tough to talk yourself into.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think that's really what it is. And on FanDuel, I mean, 8,500, but I don't see real significant upside with him. So I think that's just kind of the issue there. It's just more the pricing.
Right.
As far as Ventura goes on the other side, I mean, on DraftKings at 6,700, I'm a little bit hesitant, but you know what? I actually don't mind him as kind of a GPP option. This Tigers offense has been kind of, hasn't been great of late. We haven't really seen a ton of production, but Ventura's pitched well against them this year. I like Ventura when he's at home, and he's been pitching well. I mean, outside that Red Sox start, I mean, did have a couple of great games, including one at Detroit. So I don't mind him in a GPP since there's still some reasonable strikeout upside there.
I like him against righty-heavy lineups. Tonight against the Tigers, that's a tough righty-heavy lineup, but yeah, I mean, 6,700 on DK, I don't mind that, as like a tournament punt, because it literally is a punt at 6,700, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where he just stands. It's just more of a bad or an arm to kind of get exposure to cores with if you're kind of paying down that way.
Right. Absolutely.
So, cores next year: Tyler Chatwood versus Braden Shipley. No thanks. I mean,
Well,
this one,
that was
this
fun yesterday.
this is finally going to be the first like true series that really pays off in cores as far as hitting goes.
Yeah, we're all set with this.
Yeah. Porcello and Daniel Mangden next year. Oakland taking on the Red Sox. Sox are big -180 favorites. You look at Porcello and what he's done. I mean, been very consistent of late. I mean, his last 10 starts, I mean, he hasn't gone less than 6 innings. I mean, he's just been going deep into the games, has 6 or more strikeouts in 6 of the last 10. So I'm sorry. I mean, I think we've both said that he's overpriced before, but you know what? I think he's kind of deserved this price tag with what he's been doing on DraftKings. I mean, FanDuel, he's certainly a reasonable, option there in all formats, but DraftKings, I know I haven't really liked him in the past, but for what he's been doing, I mean, I'm kind of walking back a little bit. I do like him here.
Well, you kind of look at the last 4 starts, Diamondbacks, Tigers, and the Rays twice. I mean, those are 2 righty-heavy lineups, and he's facing another one tonight, and it just seems like that's been, kind of money for him. I'm not worried about the A's lineup at all. We love Stephen Vaught here, but or Vogt, or however you want to say it. This is just an ugly matchup for them. I don't see how they really get much traction going here. You love the run support potential. I mean, most lineups you can't really, guarantee run support, but the Red Sox are just about as close to locking it in as you can get. So, Yoan Moncada going to get 2 homers tonight probably. So, gonna be a nice night for Porcello in terms of run support. He's my cash guy tonight. I don't see a way he gets out of here without 20 DK points or something like that.
That's the thing. I mean, his last 10 starts, he has not been below 20 DK points. He's not been below 40 FanDuel points. I mean, it's just that consistent nature has been there, and it's one of the reasons why he's thrown into the Cy Young mix at this point.
Right. So I love that matchup. He's my cash guy. I feel really comfortable locking him in.
Yeah, I do too. And as you mentioned, I mean, Mangin on the other side. I mean, the move to the West Coast did not hurt the Red Sox last night, but obviously Triggs did leave the game after about an inning and a third. So, but obviously Mangin getting called up, not a strong right-handed arm. You expect the Red Sox to bounce back with another solid offensive game.
Oof.
Yeah.
Sorry, pal.
Why me?
Yeah. No, not you. I'm saying that was a collective sorry, pal, to the Athletics there.
Oh, I gotcha. I see. Mariners and Angels next year. Taijuan Walker versus Tyler Skaggs. For me, this game I feel like is kind of a gray area game, as you like to always call games that are just kind of like meh matchups for both sides, and I feel like this is how it kind of chalks out.
This is a very meh. I mean, the Skaggs guy, man, what's he doing to us? He's just throwing us all over the board. He's just like, no, I'm over here, and then he vanishes. He's like, no, I'm over here now. Hey, I'm over here, and you're like, Skaggs, and then he's like, what? And then you're like, shut up, Skaggs, get out of here, get off my slate. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna be here. And he's like, you can't make me leave. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
All right. We're going to get into the game. That lasted way too long.
Okay. I was going to make you stop me there. Yeah. I mean, lefty on this Mariners, you like that most of the time, but I can't trust him.
No, I can't either. I mean, I don't even like him in GPPs. I feel like I like a lot of their other options in better spots. I mean, you want to like lefties against this Mariners team that really are not a good team against southpaws. But Skaggs, I mean, he started twice against them, hasn't looked good. He is a guy who overall he doesn't miss bats, so I don't like that. There's a ton of strikeout upside, even though we have seen it. That swinging strike rate is just way too low for me.
Yep, agreed. So. And as far as Taijuan Walker goes, I mean, I'm done with messing with the Angels, man, with non-aces. They've actually kind of turned it on here of late, so no thanks.
Yeah. I mean, Walker's the guy who I haven't seen anything from in quite some time.
Yeah.
If he was showing a couple starts where he shows some life, I'd be okay with it, but for what he's doing, I just don't like how he's pitched of late. I don't like that the Angels don't give you a ton of strikeout upside. I mean, below 16%. So I don't know. I mean, Walker's the guy who I'm off of.
And hot take, Mike Trout's pretty good at baseball.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's
Yeah,
not bad
he's
at all.
he's really not he's really not bad. I know. I mean, I know a lot of people think that. So it's pretty hot.
Dodgers and Padres next here. Luis Perdomo versus Rich Hill. I think Perdomo we can chalk off and get rid of here against the Dodgers offense that's heavily left-handed.
Yeah. Finally, we get another night to look at some Dodgers here after a few days against lefties. Not much here for Perdomo. I like Rich Hill as a cash option. Again, we talked about the Marlins flailing. I don't even know what like the Padres are doing. They're just like a fossil. They're not even flailing. They're like they were dead 150 million years ago. They're a fossil now. So I don't even entertain, this lineup right now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Padres offense. I mean, one, the strikeout rate is phenomenal against lefties. I mean, 25%. We know Rich Hill. I mean, he can dial up those strikeouts. 28% on the season when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
My issue is the finger. I mean, was scratched from his last start with the blister. I mean, he missed about a month and a half with blister issues and finger issues. For me, I mean, we could get to past lock time, and all of a sudden, Rich Hill's scratched. I mean, that could be really something. I mean, if that happens, you have the move to make to Porcello if you're not using him already. But on FanDuel, you could be just really, I mean, you could be out of luck at 8,700 if you kind of go and plug him in and he gets scratched, or if he even goes an inning and a third or 2 innings and it comes up again. That's where I have my issue with Rich Hill. It's not the matchup. Everything sets up perfectly for him to do his thing. It's how healthy is that finger for me to actually feel comfortable about deploying him on a site like FanDuel or a site that I actually am pairing him up with Porcello or something like that.
That's certainly fair. I'm not going to debate that. I guess just looking at the basic play here, you love Rich Hill, but you definitely have to hedge, especially on FanDuel with no late swap.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw in some Rich Hill shares. I mean, 8,700, you can get some Coors bats in with them. I mean, there's a lot of upside to be had there, but there certainly is a lot of downside if he doesn't go or just doesn't last long into the game because of the issue there.
Right.
So, but as you mentioned, yeah, the matchup's perfect for him. Hill's a guy who, healthy. I mean, we'd be jumping all over him, but I think there is just a little bit of caution.
Definitely.
That's gonna wrap things up with the pitcher nail down. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all our great tools and content.